Hey guys, Smallfan 101, and this is my third recording in a row. I don't know when it's gonna go up, but my third recording in a row as of now. Um, this is gonna be my SmackDown review, and I'm just gonna say right now, SmackDown better than Raw this week. Been better than Raw most weeks, except for the first week of the brand split and the Universal Championship. Yeah, I guess you could say Universal Championship match week last week. Um, so this is, oh yeah, almost forgot. Okay, so because I've been doing as much full-time reviews as I usually do, um, I want to talk about two matches from a few weeks ago. This is there was two matches from a couple weeks ago, right after SummerSlam, that I want to talk about. Um, so obviously they were building up the type the championship tournament, and just to get it out of the way, I have to say this right now. The SmackDown tag team titles and the SmackDown women's title, especially, look good, even though they're lazy. They look good. And the SmackDown tag team championships, I have to say, look a lot better than the Raw belts, which is basically brown pennies on like what is it, like a red strap? No, not a red strap, but it's like a slightly lighter strap. But here we have. Sorry, I'm just trying to. There, there we go. So instead, it's like silver. It's like a silver center plate on a blue strap, which looks a lot better. Because I don't know what it is, but for some reason, belts look better with a blue strap and a silver centerpiece than they do with a freaking. Because the tag team titles for the longest time have been called the copper belts because they look like pennies. Now they look like nickels, but at least nickels actually look good. Um, so that was one thing I wanted to say. Another thing was two matches from that particular episode of SmackDown, or maybe it was from that episode of SmackDown. One was the tag team match of American Alpha versus FaBreeze. I know they're called Breezango, but screw it, I'm calling them FaBreeze. That's what everyone else calls them. And the second match, I don't know why it zoned out there. And which is by the way, that was a pretty good tag team match, best match of the tournament so far. And the second match was AJ Styles versus Dolph Ziggler, which was a great match. You need to check out Styles and Ziggler because that was a pretty darn good match. Um, it was pretty awesome. But it was basically the match that Ziggler needed to have at SummerSlam. The opening segment was Daniel Bryan with the WWE Women's the I should say the SmackDown Women's Championship, and he introduced Becky Lynch because she was the first draft pick. Um, and basically said that just gave the normal women's title speech here. But before that, I like this moment where Daniel Bryan and Becky Lynch said this straight up, like, I thought the first name you were going to say was Nikki Bella. And Daniel Bryan's like, don't get me wrong, I love my sister-in-law, but this goes beyond, this is about the wrestling specifically. And then he's like, just to pull in a cheap plug, Total Bellas is going to be exclusive to E! Network. But I digress. So, the way he said it, it was like Daniel Bryan does not give a shit. It's like he gives a shit, but he doesn't give a shit. What I love about Daniel Bryan is that Daniel Bryan is Daniel Bryan. He never tries to be somebody he's not. Then, obviously Becky Lynch came out. She said she was, and the segment was going good up until this point. She was talking about how her journey has been rocky. Obviously, she's been stabbed in the back by people she once called friends. Charlotte, Natalia, So, those people, Paige, one of them. Paige, then Charlotte, then Natalya. So, and she was saying, like, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's a reason why I got stabbed in the back. Maybe there's a reason why I didn't win a WrestleMania. Maybe this is the reason. Hang on a second, guys. I think my sister just got home. But this will be a somewhat shorter review than the other ones because it's Smackdown. But then it just fell down a cliff. Like, maybe she was meant to be SmackDown Women's Champion. But then, of course, Natalya came out, started berating Becky Lynch that, she's the queen, she should be the ruler of the SmackDown Women's roster. But her mic was giving her problems. Alexa Bliss came out to run down both of them. Then Carmella came out to run them down. Then Nikki Bella, and they were about to team up on Becky Lynch. Nikki Bella and Naomi came out to Becky Lynch's aid, and that's how the segment ended. I think with a brawl, maybe, I don't know. I honestly forget and don't care. But God, man, this was shit. Not shit. It was going good up until the Becky Lynch promo, and after Becky Lynch's promo, and when Natalya came out, it started to die a death. This is one of the big weaknesses of the women's roster. It's not that they're booking it terribly. I actually do care about most of the women on this roster, more so than others. Some more so than others, but my problem with it is that they can't just shove out all the women at the same time. That's what they did last year with the whole Divas Revolution, and it didn't work. They had to try something different. So, we had a brief backstage segment between Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, and The Miz. Daniel Bryan basically said, Miz, you are a coward. Going off of what he said a couple weeks ago on Talking Smack. Great promo by The Miz there, by the way. And he went on to say that, a real champion, because he even said, like, the women out there, yes, for all their faults, at least they're willing to fight for a championship. Miz did last week when Miz was confronted by Dolph Ziggler, he didn't fight. He walked away like a coward. And he says, whether you like it or not, Dolph Ziggler is getting an IC title shot at Backlash, which is this Sunday, as we're recording this. It does beg the question, though, of how did Ziggler didn't exactly earn a title shot. In that sense, Miz is actually right. Dolph Ziggler never won a number one title contendership, other than confronting Miz and Miz walking away. I guess that's how you earn contendership now. So, and then that was the cue and then Miz's music hit. He went on to face Apollo Crews in a 10-minute match. It was actually a good match, by the way. It was actually, if there's any match I should recommend on the show, at least for the 10 minutes it got, it was Apollo Crews and The Miz, with Dolph Ziggler on commentary, which made it better. Due to an inadvertent distraction by Dolph Ziggler, Crews lost his match against The Miz. But then Ziggler taunted Miz by holding the Intercontinental belt in the ring while Miz and Maurice were out in the walkway. So what did Miz do? He didn't go in and fight Ziggler for the title. No, instead, he sent Maurice in there to grab the championship. And Ziggler the whole time was like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? So the story is that unless it's actually in a match, Miz will not fight because he is a giant pussy. We had AJ Styles briefly backstage being interviewed by Renee Young. Renee Young basically revealed the footage last week, hilarious footage by the way, of Styles getting crotch chopped or getting crotched on the top rope by Dean Ambrose. And by the way, when the show went off the air 10 minutes later, or like 10 minutes after the show went off the air, he was still crotching the top rope. John Cena came out for a dark match, still crossing the top rope. Dean Ambrose came out for a dark match, I believe. Somebody else did, I forget who. You know, it may have been Seth Rollins, I don't know. Still was on the top rope. Somebody else came out for the same dark match. It was a tag team match with AJ Styles, still on the top rope. I'm like, God damn, that is hilarious. He sold it like a champ, I'll say that. But then Styles is like, after he saw the footage again, he basically went over to one of the TV people and was like, "Did you do this? Get over here." He's like, Did you put it there? Did you think it was funny? But he's like, "What if I took this headset and broke it and I blamed you and you got fired? How would you feel? How would your family feel? You think it would be funny then?" I have to admit, I actually like Styles here. He was not happy. But showed later on, actually. The Usos were briefly interviewed backstage saying that, it's time for them to shine, everything. It was it was just a normal babyface backstage promo. Then Bray Wyatt had a promo, basically saying that Randy Orton was no longer the Predator and that Bray Wyatt was. There. I finished Bray Wyatt's long promo in 5 seconds. And it took Bray Wyatt several minutes to do it. Look, I like Bray Wyatt's promos, but the problem is he's been doing them for over 3 years now. And he loses almost every big feud he's in. He lost. The only feud he's actually won that actually meant something was Chris Jericho 2 years ago. He was Chris Jericho. Did he win his feud with Roman Reigns? No. Undertaker? No. John Cena? Even if John Cena was going to win the feud, Bray Wyatt should have won that match at WrestleMania. Dean Ambrose, well, they had a feud and Bray Wyatt won. But yeah, Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho. 3 years, and he only won 2 feuds. He should have won more than that. He was going to feud with Brock Lesnar, but then that didn't happen because WWE saw money in Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar. And don't forget, Bray Wyatt on Raw a few months ago turned face, and then he got an ankle injury on a collar and elbow tie-up at a live event, and then they just turned him heel when he got back. It's like, I guess Vince is right when he says, "I don't even know what happened 3 weeks ago." God damn it, Vince. Team Natalya beat Team Lynch. It's what I'm calling it. It was the team of Natalya, Carmella, and Alexa Bliss against Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, and Naomi. This was just an okay match. Nothing more, nothing less. It was decent. It was not a good match, but it was not a bad match. Melon flavored water sounds good. Then, oh god, I have to mention this. During the commercial break. During the commercial break, Heath Slater came out with Rhino and his family, and he introduced his family on Smackdown, though during the commercial break. This was awesome. I think this is on it was a WWE.com exclusive. Go and watch this on .com because that segment was to me pretty funny actually. I'm loving Heath Slater. Is one of my favorite Smackdown roster members, which I never ever thought I would be saying that. And he's not even a member of the SmackDown roster. All I have to say is he and Rhino better win those damn tag team titles at Backlash. American Alpha beat the Usos in what could not have been more than 25 to 30 seconds. They shook hands with the Usos before the match. Usos went in on the attack. Then Jason Jordan countered, tagged in Chad Gable, and then they hit their finishing maneuver. I forget what it's called. And 1, 2, 3. This wasn't about the match. This was about what happened after it. So American Alpha beat the Usos. And then the Usos went to shake the hands of the Usos, which they did, which they did briefly, and then they turned on American Alpha, super kicked Jason Jordan. They attacked Chad Gable, and then while he was in a single leg Boston Crab, one of the Usos went up to do the pop rope splash on Chad Gable's leg, and it was announced in a kayfabe injury. And it was announced later that Chad Gable will be kayfabe in storyline out on injury for 2 to 4 weeks, and will not be competing at Backlash. So there's going to be a second chance match, which is probably going to be the opening match at Backlash. It'll be the Usos against the Hype Bros. And the reason why I say that is because in the next match, the Hype Bros lost to Heath Slater and Rhino. So Rhino and Heath Slater are in the finals. Usos and Hype Bros are going to face off, most likely in the opening match on the show, to see who will face Slater and Rhino in the finals. It's probably going to be the Usos, and what I'm predicting the finish will be is that Jason Jordan will run interference in revenge, and Slater and Rhino will win the tag team titles. Won't hold it no more past than No Mercy, which they brought back the No Mercy pay-per-view. After the Usos heel turn, Orton was interviewed briefly backstage, basically, and had story time with Randy Orton, which I thought was kind of weird, but okay. Randy Orton basically said there's the hunter, he's hunting the rabbit, he shoots the rabbit, but then he sees the snake, who wanted the rabbit. Hunter's like, nah, that's my rabbit. He goes to pick it up, and then the snake bites the hunter anyways, even though the hunter thinks, oh, snake is always afraid of man. Should be the other way around. This kind of works well because Randy Orton is called the Viper, so this actually makes a little bit of sense. It was actually a pretty decent backstage interview, and it was a nice foregoing. All I hope is that Bray Wyatt wins this feud. I don't care if Randy Orton wins this match, although I do, if Randy Orton wins or loses. But Bray Wyatt should win the feud. He needs to win against a major top-level guy. Bray Wyatt is that guy. Randy Orton is that guy, I mean. Oh, Fandango came out, danced with some random woman that we don't care about. He was disgusted by how the women danced and said to get the hell out of my ring. Then Kane came out, and Fandango's like, yeah, I'm burning fire. Dance for me. And I'm just like, is Fandango coming on to Kane? Thankfully, Kane choke slammed him, did the Fandangoing for just 1 second, and then left the ring. Kane can no longer do his four-corner pyro thing, because apparently the LED lights do not allow that. They should go back. WWE should go back to the store and get their money back, so that way they can do the pyro. We had AJ backstage. He thought some guy was taking a picture of him. And it was wrong. It was apparently he was showing another employee of the picture of his family. Then AJ was going to give the phone back to him, and then he threw the phone against the wall and got up all in the employees' faces, saying, "I'm the face that runs the place," pointing at the John Cena armbands on his arm. And he's like, by the way, your phone's broken. Get out of here. And they ran out like hell. AJ Styles was not happy tonight. He was not happy that he was made to look like a fool. Then we got a vignette of Kurt Hawkins. All I can say is that I don't care if Kurt Hawkins is not a big-time guy. He never was. Fun fact, he and AJ Styles actually had a match back at Battle of Los Angeles tournament in 2014, which it started out good, but then the clusterfuck ending happened, and for like the last 5 minutes, and AJ Styles had one of the worst matches during his godly 2014-16 indie run. Then we had the Slater Rhino against the Hype Bros. I just talked about that. Where we had a heel Usos segment backstage, basically saying they're tired of being walked on by new guys constantly coming up to the main roster, and that they're going to take back their spot. So this has actually made a lot of sense. And then the last segment of the night was AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. This was a mixed. This segment gave me mixed feelings. It built up to the main event of Backlash, but it didn't do a great job. Styles did the best job he could. But Dean Ambrose in the beginning of the segment kept on being jokey Dean Ambrose by giving Styles a participation trophy for bowling that Dean Ambrose won many years ago. I want to know if that was a real trophy. Like his real trophy. Dean Ambrose then, showed video footage of Styles getting crotched last week. Styles kept on saying, look, don't treat me like I'm a joke. Take me seriously. Because guess what? John Cena took me seriously, and look what happened to him. He lost at SummerSlam. I beat him. I'm the face that runs the place. I'm wearing his stupid armbands. That's proof. And then, finally, Dean Ambrose got serious by saying that he will basically drill H Styles' face into the pavement, into the mat, whatever. So, hang on a second, I gotta get rid of this shit. There we go. And then after, and then he said, you're gonna have to take this title from me because you don't get participation, because you don't get a belt or a trophy for being in second place. Made Styles nonetheless mad. He kicked Dean Ambrose right in the balls, which it kind of looked like he kicked him in the gut. Then he took the trophy and then broke it against his knee. This was like a mixed bag. Styles was very good in the mic, but up until he got serious, Dean Ambrose was not so very good. So, but we saw it in the build of SummerSlam. Serious Dean Ambrose is the best Dean Ambrose. Please give us serious Dean Ambrose a lot more often. Give him some jokes, but make him a lot more serious than he needs to be. So with that said, guys, that was my Smackdown review. I thought it was a good show, although underwhelming for a go-home show to a pay-per-view. So with that said, guys, better than Raw. I'm done recording for the next little while until I watch NXT Cruiserweight Classic and Lucha Underground and Ring of Honor. But Lucha Underground, it's back. Yay. So until then, guys, I'll see you next time. Peace.